Well, let us see.
Yeah, to be honest, I heard. They had the 221 or not. We'll let that stay in the ash. That kid, I feel like that kid. I want to cry.
Is that someone crying over there, or does someone want the microphone that early?
No, it's the chairman of the FinCom.
It's the chairman of the Finance Committee. I see, okay.
He wants out.
So does that young child. All right, last night we wound up with Article 25. We'll start out on Article 26 tonight. And I see we have a lot smaller audience tonight. And I expect that we will finish up. And I expect we will be very concise tonight, speak to the point of the articles, be nice and polite as we were last night. Won't have any filibusters tonight. Already? What could you possibly want so early?
I'd like to make some comments before we start. Is that possible? It's not a very
I haven't said yes yet.
It's not a very long...
I haven't said yes yet. Go ahead.
Ann Chang, Billing Street, South Acton. I've spent a long time defending town meeting as a venue to a lot of people who don't want to come because they think it's a waste of time. And one of the things that I've always said about town meeting is an educational forum where people can learn about the articles and parts of the articles which is not covered, say, like in the newspaper or in other public hearings which they don't go to. And I find that has not happened in this particular series of town meetings. So I would like to suggest that tonight, rather than go through Article 26 lickety-split, that we keep up on a slide above the, whatever that thing's called over there, the various parts of the article that are being voted on so that people can see what is being voted on. Because last night, frankly, is all I know that we passed was the Conant septic system and $60,000 for the electricity for Miriam's school. There was no justification for this. There was no explanation for what the other parts of this article were. And I think that has left us with a poor understanding of what we're voting on. Also, we really don't know when the overrides, the portion of the article for the overrides were passed, what that was covering. And I also think that has been a lack of the educational process of the school committee. I just point out the school committee right now because they are still online. There are also some deficits with the Board of Selectmen and the FinCom. I'm sorry, I'm not really picking on the school committee, but as we go forward, I hope that their presentation will be better this evening. Thank you.
Okay, what you'd like to see is, I think, the motion put up there. Is that right, Ann? Or either the motion or the article? I'm not sure which
No,
you
they're
want.
parts of this motion. It says, this article covers such required maintenance projects as replacing doors. Okay, where are we going to replace doors? Exhaust fans and all that sort of stuff. Last night they had these things, and it went zing, 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 and as you read them, you really couldn't read them.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We have done that in some other town meetings. I think it's a very good idea. To the extent that we have the motion in print, other than my copy, which I need, we'll be glad to put a motion and or the article up. We'll do the best we can. And so I will rely on the people making presentations to do that. They would, of course, have to come down when people want to use the view graph for other purposes. But that's a good suggestion, and let us see what we can do. Before we begin on Article 26, I would like to thank a couple of people. As you know, at every town meeting, we have a number of volunteers who work here on the cable TV system. And of course, they are volunteers. They are not paid. They are generally young students. And the volunteers, and I think there are 6 of them who have been working here over the last several nights, are Adam Arnstein, John Duclos, Lucia Emberton, Laura Hirsch, Joe Nagel, and Kathleen Nagel. So thank you very much for the work that you do. Without reading also a very long list of volunteers, it is clear to you, I'm sure, that this town operates as well as it does in large measure because of the high number of volunteers that donate their time to the town. Certainly the school committee does, the Board of Selectmen does, although they're paid an outrageous sum. The Finance Committee does it for free, as do about 30 other committees in this town. I don't know what the total number of volunteers are, but it probably runs over 200. I would at this time, without reading off the names of the commissions, committees, or people, like to just generally thank all the volunteers who make this town such a good place to live, and I would ask you to recognize them with your applause. Thank you.
Mr. Moderator,
Yes.
I would like to take this opportunity to introduce a special volunteer. His name is Eli Forsyth, and he has volunteered to be our town manager intern for how long? For a few months, yeah. So would you give a hand to Eli, please?
Actually, Eli had volunteered for 2 years until he came here the other night, and he cut it back to 2 months, I understand. That's okay, Eli. I can understand it. All right, Article 26. Mrs. Stuntz moves that the town approve the March 4th, 1999 vote of the Acton-Boxborough Regional School Committee to incur $137,086 of debt for the purpose of remodeling and making extraordinary repairs to the senior high school and for the purchase of equipment, including all incidental costs thereto. Do I hear a second? Second. Mrs. Stuntz.
And I even have the motion on for you, Ann, if we can get the machine back on again. It was on earlier.
Has Jesse been fooling with this thing again? Yeah, see, his presentation went well last night. And
Come up. Okay, this is Mrs. Stunt's moves. The Acton-Boxborough capital warrant articles require a 2/3 vote. As the town meeting discussed last night, any articles which incur debt require a 2/3 majority. The Regional School Committee is a separate governmental entity which can incur debt, but has always brought votes on these articles to town meeting. Starting with July 1st, 1999, the new regional agreement will require us to follow our past practice and bring them to the town meeting in both Acton and Boxborough. This article has to be passed in both towns in order for debt to be incurred. This vote will have no effect on the regional budget this year and will be paid off from the regional operating budget over the next 3 to 5 years. The capital warrant article for the region includes mainly maintenance and safety items for the high school, which cannot wait 3 to 4 years. These repairs are such items as inadequate electrical service in portions of the high school, as well as safety and security repairs. The doors that will be replaced are 22 interior doors and exterior doors, including the front entrance and fire doors. The exhaust fans are 18 exhaust fans located in the old wing, most from the original 1966 construction. The electrical upgrade are 6 additional panels to respond to increased usage. And the field house repairs are the pool filter room, stairs and pool grate, and the lobby ceiling in the upper pool entrance where years of humidity have taken their toll. Please vote yes for the health, safety, and maintenance capital article at the high school. In response to Ann, I will put this back up, and you can ask us more questions about exactly what it is.
From the Board of Selectmen, Mr. Acton.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. As you have heard, the primary needs served by this article are safety and maintenance at the high school. As we understand it, these must be performed before any construction work is done on the high school. Therefore, the Board of Selectmen recommend approval of this article.
And the Finance Committee, Mr. Evans.
The Finance Committee has discussed these items at some length with the school committee, and we are completely convinced of the need to go ahead at this time. Those of you who were here last night know that we believe that such items should be bonded, so we obviously support the bonding practice as proposed by Mrs. Stuntz.
Other comments from the town meeting members? I see no one standing, so therefore I see Mr. Shamel standing. I'll recognize Mr. Shamel.
Thank you. Well, I've been paying taxes in the town of Acton for 40 years, and it's a wonderful town, and there's a group in town called the Acton Citizens for Sensible Taxation, and they're trying to keep Acton a wonderful town too, because a lot of people who have come here for education for their children are living, I find, in kind of reduced situations, and I have gone around an area of houses and talked to them and said, what brought you here? And universally the answer has been, well, we have 3 children, 4 children, and we feel that in Acton they'd get a wonderful education because we hear it's great. However, at our first opportunity when I can afford to have them educated somewhere else, we're going to move away. I could never pay the tax rate that you have here, which is pretty high, and I'd like to show that on the screen, if you don't mind. Would you?
No, go right ahead.
Yeah. This is Ann Cadillac. Will you show it? Ann Cadillac is showing it. Back in the good old days of Acton that I recall, Acton had the tax rate in Acton was never the lowest, but it was never in a position which it's shown now, where of all the towns in the area here, Acton has the 3rd largest tax rate. And we think that hopefully it won't go any higher, and hopefully it will come down somewhat. In the good old days when taxes were lower, there you can see it a little better on that whiter paper. So we're 3rd highest in the area, and that means that we're really paying heavy taxes compared to all our neighbors. And I think that everybody here would like to be paying a lower rate of taxes. During this meeting, many measures have been passed which will add to the tax rate. And in the good old days, we always used to see items come up for the school. We would usually trim them by 5, 7, 10%. And the schools went on, and we had excellent schools all during these 40 years, I'd say. In fact, the schools won presidential flags, which is a great honor, and meant that the schools were outstanding. And that's the kind of schools that our tax groups want. We want excellent schools, but we want to see that that money is not thrown away or used in the wrong way. I speak to Article 26 on page 44, And I noticed that this one is for health and safety. And it seems to me that anybody new to the town would look over this and say, well, if that's for health and safety, that's something that I want to vote for. And then if they do take time to read what it's for, it's not for health and safety, it's for everything else but health and safety. I'd like to point out that you can only charge the town once for an item. You can't pay these things that are in this article as part of general maintenance and then break off these items, which are something else, and ask the town to pay for items that are not health and safety. I think we need to keep the titles in line with what the subject is about. So I'd like to have you vote no for Article 26. And would appreciate your vote on that. Thank you very much, Ann Cadillac.
Other comment on Article 26? Mr. Jarbo, you're at the microphone first.
Actually, I have a question on one of the view graphs that was just presented. So I don't know if I can direct it to the person who presented it, but here's the gist of the question. In comparing the tax rates for Acton versus other communities, is that the residential tax rate, or are there a different set of numbers for the commercial tax rate in those communities?
Perhaps someone can answer that question. I certainly can't. The question is, were we looking at residential tax rates, and in some of those towns, do they also have a commercial tax rate, which is higher than the residential rate? Mr. Cadillac.
I've been asked to answer it, although I did not create this page. So I know that Acton only has one rate. I cannot speak to the other towns. I suspect some of them have more than one rate. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference. The one we're talking about is Acton.
Mr. Moderator?
Mr. Jarbo.
I would agree that we are talking about Acton. And as I think we learned last night, or perhaps it was the night before, when you get into data and begin comparing it, you can compare it by median, mean. You can come up with communities that you think are comparable. You can come up with state averages. It is unclear. I remember we had a speaker here the other night who said he had just moved here from Wellesley, and he realized that there was a commercial rate and a residential rate, and that they were different, and that in Acton he was surprised to discover we had the same rate for both. So when you see a list that gives our relative ranking, I guess one of the lessons I've learned from the earlier speakers, and there are lessons to be learned even from people with opposing views, is we all have to be suspicious of the data. So since I can't tell truly how comparable the data is, what I do know is that I look at this list and there's nothing particularly esoteric here. Replacing doors, I understand that. I don't think I need an exhaustive definition of what that does. So I think I can make an intelligent judgment based on this information, and therefore I would urge that we support the motion as presented by the school committee.
Other comment on this motion, please? The lady at the front, middle microphone.
Joyce DeVivo, 7 Lothrop Road. It's not clear to me just by saying we need new doors, we need new this, we need new that, and it has to be done before another big renovation that we're going to come to you in a few months or a year with. I don't understand why this has to be done before the other renovation. And is it that it needs to be done in order to do the other renovation, or the conditions are so awful that the kids will be in terrible danger if we don't fix it now? It's not clear.
Let me have Mrs. Stuntz respond to that if she wishes.
Am I on?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We went through the same process with this that we went through with the public schools. There are long lists of maintenance needs, as you have in your own home. And as I'm sure you do in your own home, you start looking at what goes to the top and what can wait. What the school committee said very clearly to the administration, the director of facilities, Steve Deasy, was, we know we are going to come to this town for a renovation of this high school in 3 to 4 years. The work would start in 3 to 4 years. So please do not bring us anything for the junior high, because the work is going to start next year. And please bring us only the things that cannot wait for that renovation, that are in really bad shape. Those 18 doors, or 22 doors, 18 exhaust fans. The exhaust fans basically don't work. The doors really need replacing. The front doors of the high school are in bad shape. The front door, if that's a security issue. You know, certainly anybody would be perfectly willing to answer your questions very specifically on the damage to which doors when and that sort of thing. But that list, those are the things that came to the top with the very strict guidelines. We only want to see things that absolutely cannot wait. And obviously we can't take you through each of those and show them to you right now, but I can assure you many people have looked at them and scrutinized this list. I would also like to point out that this is a debt, the debt service will be in the
I'm sorry, Ms. Stuntz, that's really beyond the nature. It's really beyond the nature of the question, though. She just asked how you came to that conclusion.
I just have one more question or clarification. Will all of these improvements remain, or are they going to be ripped out when the renovation is made?
As with anything that we're doing at the junior high school, the junior high school improvements which have been done very recently, we have made it very clear that if those improvements can stay, if lockers can be reused, the newer lockers, that sort of thing, they should be reused. These doors, if these doors are in good shape, we will not replace those doors unless the wall is being moved. But those doors, if they're in good shape, will not be replaced. The exhaust fans, if in point of fact the exhaust fans are in that location during the renovation and they're still functioning, they will not be replaced. And the electrical service is an upgrade which will stay.
Lady at the back microphone.
80 Alcott Street. I often ponder why we are feeling the crunch so badly and try to look at the problem in different ways. About 2 weeks ago, I heard a forum that included the superintendents of 4 comparable school districts. And they indeed were all feeling the crunch. The town that was feeling it less than the other 3 has an extremely large commercial base. But all had to build new schools, all had very old schools that were in dire need of renovation. So when I got back to my office, I called the town clerks of every town and asked them their up-to-date population statistics. And then I called the school system and got their up-to-date enrollment at their senior high, grades 9 through 12. The other 3 school districts basically had about 4.7%, 5.1% of their total population attending grades 9 through 12. We, if I did my statistics correctly, and I did it in the same way, were approximately 7%. We're servicing a good 2% of our population just in those 4 grades, more than the other 4 towns that are feeling pain as well as we are. So that just helped me to understand why the pain is extra acute right now. And yes, we've always done a good job and didn't have quite so high taxes, but perhaps this is a logical explanation. Also, I'd like to say that if I chose to buy a house in Wellesley, which was the lowest tax rate, I believe, on that chart that was put up, my $300,000 house, I would have to pay $900,000 for. My assessment might be, well, probably 2.5 times as much as my assessment on my same square footage. And I propose to you that I'd probably be paying more taxes there than I am now, even though I don't like paying the taxes I'm paying. So basically, that's where we are, and I think we have to live where we are, and we need to support our town so that it grows and it doesn't die. Thank you.
Gentleman to the side microphone.
Bela Matyash, 7 Taylor Road. I agree that we here in Acton pay a lot in taxes, and I'm not someone who enjoys the prospect of paying more in taxes. In fact, I've never met anyone who wants to pay more in taxes. I do, however, think that defining our taxes by a tax rate is really the incorrect way to look at it. We should be looking at the total tax bill, as the prior speaker mentioned. The point that I want to make here that I think is really germane is that I would rather spend more to maintain a structure than to have to replace it. Excuse me, I would rather pay to maintain a structure, pay a smaller amount today, next year, et cetera, than to have to pay the cost of replacing it because I wasn't maintaining it. We own these structures, we're responsible for them, and just as we are responsible for maintaining our own homes, our own cars, we have to maintain these structures. When I look at that list, I see 2 types of items. I see items that maintain the structure and allow it to last longer, and I see items that are clearly health-related. I think the repairs in the field house are very straightforward safety prevention items. I think the repair of the exhaust fans very directly has to do with the quality of the indoor air that we're subjecting our students to. Upgraded electrical service and the replacement of the hardware represent necessary items to maintain these structures. So this represents to me an issue of needing to be penny wise in order to avoid being pound foolish.
Ms. Gardner.
Joan Gardner, Spring Hill Road. I understand the explanation for the first 4 items, but I didn't hear any explanation for the last item, engineering and contingency. Is the engineering related to the top 4, or is that a separate item, and what is that about?
Ms. Stuntz.
The engineering is related to the top 4 items. We need engineering work on the upgrade of the electrical service, replacing the exhaust fans. There's always a contingency item in any of these maintenance articles because it's a very small contingency, but but you have to have a little bit of wiggle room. When you vote this, you are voting for health, safety, and maintenance items on the high school. We can spend it on nothing else.
Mr. Whittier.
Jack Whittier, 76 Alcott Street. Indeed, this is a small portion of the entire budget. I am intrigued, as the lady that spoke before me, of this engineering contingency fee, which is, I don't know, 15 or 16% of the total here, and I'm just wondering, I'd be glad to volunteer my services to eliminate that kind of money, to go up and supervise what's going on up there. And I submit that that is pure and simple fat in that budget and should be eliminated. And I submit that the town should vote no on this.
Gentleman at the back.
Yeah, John Campbell, 183A School Street. I just want to mentioned. The woman who is, your name is Joan Gardner, is that correct? Are you the same Joan Gardner that signed the Nesbitt contract? Yes. This is the woman who got us into the Nesbitt contract.
Oh, just a moment. Just, you know, that was really out of line.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You should be.
I'm sorry.
Please don't do that again.
I'd like to call the question.
Well, it's not necessary because no one's standing. We will now vote on the motion as read. It takes 2/3 to pass. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. No. Would all opposed please stand? It's too many for me to count. Would the tellers come forward, please? We're voting on the motion as read under Article 26. Two-thirds, unless it's unanimous or very close to unanimous, really has to be counted. It takes time, and I apologize for that. Often, what I do is count the noes, and then I count enough yeses to, if I know it's passed, to make the two-thirds majority, but there were too many noes this time for me to count accurately. Okay, would all in favor of the motion as read under Article 26, all in favor, please stand to be counted. I would just remind the tellers when you finish with your sections to bring the votes back to Bill Cady.
wait. Aren't we stupid?
Okay, Bill? Okay, we have the yes votes. Would all opposed please stand?
They close it. Also EA? Yeah.
I have the count. We had 227 yes votes, 75 no votes. The article has carried. Article 26. Mrs. Stuntz moves that the town 27, sorry. Mrs. Stuntz moves that the town approve the March 29th, 1999 vote of the Acton-Boxborough Regional School Committee to incur $125,000 of debt for the purpose of purchasing and installing computer hardware and software, including all costs incidental thereto. Do I hear a second? It's been moved and seconded. Mrs. Stuntz.
This article covers the purchase of 50 PCs for the high school. The cost per computer includes upgrades of all operating systems and software, as well as additional instructional software. The machines being replaced are 486s, which are almost 7 years old. They require an excessive amount of time and money for maintenance. The planned installation would include a Windows NT environment, which would protect the machines from student alterations, something the 486s are sadly lacking. Those of you who have had experience with a computer literate child in your house know what that means. Some of the uses some of the uses for these machines are computer-aided drawing, programming, desktop publishing, Photoshop, web design, research, and other specific curriculum-related software for individual disciplines such as math and world language. This money, like the last article, will be placed in debt to be paid back out of the operating budget over the next 3 to 5 years. Please vote yes on this article.
Board of Selectmen, Mr. Ashton.
Board of Selectmen. Here. The Board of Selectmen recommend. Can't hear you. The Board of Selectmen recommend approval of this article.
And the Finance Committee, Mr. Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The Finance Committee had long discussions with the school committee about this. We were convinced of the need. We did discuss with them the possibility that these things should be treated more like police cruisers, where some are added each year over a period of time. We became convinced that in this regard, it's essentially what you're doing. You're buying them all at once and you're paying for them over a 5-year period, and you can probably expect at the end of the 5 years you'll start with the latest upgrade and do the same thing again. It seemed quite reasonable to us, and we voted to recommend to you that you approve it.
I recognize the gentleman at the side microphone first.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions and comments. The cost of the hardware upgrades, $100,000 for 50 computers seems excessive to me. You can buy a very powerful computer for well less than $1,000. And I think the schools should have new computers. I'm all for it. But you can go to Walmart and buy a Pentium 400 for $1,000. That seems excessive. Secondly, I'd like to know if the school committee has solicited any of the local high-tech companies on the possibility of them donating equipment.
Mrs. Stuntz?
Am I on?
Yes.
Much of our current computer equipment in all of the schools is donated. We consistently get donations and always have. We are always looking for grants. Most of our computer equipment has either been donated or we've gotten grants to put it in. These particular computers, as a matter of fact, were donated 7 years ago by NEC to create our first PC lab.
Yes, go ahead, sir, if you have another question.
My question was, have any of the local companies been solicited for this round of purchases?
Specifically for this round of purchases? Dr. Zimmerman?
For this specific round, we have not, because we have, in the last 6 months, talked to a number of companies about getting gifts and donations. So this particular round, we did not.
We're not able to successfully solicit or did not solicit?
We did not solicit. We have, in the last couple of months, 6 months, as I said, solicited gifts from several companies unsuccessfully. We have been very fortunate in the past. We continue to try to get every grant. I work at the state level on a project that is bringing money into all the schools in Massachusetts from the legislature to provide computers, to provide support personnel, to provide software, and to provide professional development for staff. So in addition to worrying about Acton and Acton-Boxborough, I've also been trying to get the legislators to give everyone in Massachusetts, including us, money. So the answer to your question specifically is for this round, this request that we are making of you tonight, we did not. But as a general operating practice, we do.
Okay, and to my first question about the cost of the computers?
I'm going to ask Jim Chase, our Director of Technology, if it's all right with you,
Yes,
Mr.
go ahead.
McKenzie. He is
Sure.
he's not a resident.
Who would like to hear from Mr. Chase? Please say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Mr. Chase?
Thank you.
You're on.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. I would agree with you that the computers are perhaps more expensive than you might expect to purchase at home. But these are computers that have to be extremely reliable. They are used from anywhere from 6 to as many as 20 youngsters a day. They are used in a great many different ways, and therefore we're asking for very powerful, well-built computers. I might add that we would, of course, go out to bid as we are required to do under the law, or buy off of state bid lists, so we would not spend more than is necessary to get the quality we're talking about.
Gentleman at the mid-microphone.
Ed Russell, Oneida Road. I read from the Wall Street Journal yesterday, valueamerica.com, 350 megahertz computer, 17-inch color monitor, jet printer, scanner, $999. Your comment about that these are used quite a bit, 20 students a day, the only problem that's going to cause is maybe you might need a new keyboard or a new mouse. The operating system is able to handle it. This is an extraordinary cost for computers, and I strongly discourage voting on this amendment. In previous articles, the scepter of Y2K has come up, and just in case it comes up tonight, that's a ridiculous argument for these type of computers, because these are not mission-critical computers. If they are out for a week or 2 weeks because of some Y2K problem, that can be corrected. And I just don't think the homework has been done on this one. If we've learned anything tonight, I am in support of most of the school. I voted in favor of both school budgets, but if we've learned anything tonight, there is scarce too little money to be wasted. And please be a little more frugal about how you spend your money. Please do not vote for this article.
Gentleman at the back, Mr. Handelman.
Actually, with all due respect, I believe the other gentleman was standing first.
Well, then I will take this gentleman here then. Thank you.
Charles Beanland from Deacon Hunt Drive. I'm opposed to this request. In my opinion, it has not been researched. The school committee has not done their homework. The cost of a computer of several $1,000s is just ludicrous. And we're not just buying one, we're proposed to buy 50. So there should be a discount. I took the opportunity to bring to you tonight some actual figures, some adverts. I tore a few pages out of various magazines, and you'll see the same thing in the Sunday newspaper. But I'd like to read to you a few of these prices. Well under $1,000. We've got one here for $999, $875, another one for $999, $759, and there's one I'm a little suspicious of, but you never know. Desktop computers starting at $399. Now, there are plenty on the market under $600. So I fail to see where this large sum of money is involved. I mean, $1,000 for 50 computers is only $50,000. And the request is for $125,000. And I read in one of the pieces of information that we were given a few weeks ago, and I don't know whether it came from the school committee or from one of the other organizations in town, but as I read it, the purpose of this request would be to upgrade and improve the current computers, because the current ones are considered not to be good enough. give you a little insight into this, and maybe some people might change their mind. If you really want to know what's going on, like in the army, you get down into the trenches. For the last 18 months or so, I've been going to this continuing education for computer programs. I want to learn something about them. And last autumn, I enrolled in the graphics course called Photoshop, which is a very powerful graphics program. The first week, we were instructed in all the various things that can be done, what the program will do, and it is a real high-level professional program. And so I thought I'd like to have a copy of my own. So I went up to Nashua and went into one of the stores up there, and they said, yes, it's $699. So I didn't buy it. Well, the second week, we all came along with a little picture of our own, or photograph, and we put this in a scanner.
I'm going to have to ask you to bring your remarks to a close, sir. You're getting very repetitive to some things that other people have said, and we have a lot of articles to go through tonight, so please bring it to a close as quickly as you can.
I will, sir.
All right.
We made a picture of this, put this picture in the scanner, and made a copy, and we all had different ones. It was on our own computers in the classroom. Now, when you come to work on these, you leave that there and you make a copy of it. And you work on the copy, because if you make a mistake, you can dump it and go and make another copy. It turned out none of us can make a copy because the computers would not have enough capability to make this copy. We complained, and the third week we were able to do so. And the reason we could not make a copy was, we were told, the computers were deliberately degraded for the students' application. The students were not to allow to be used the full capability of the existing computer. That's all I have to say, Mr. Moderator. Thank you.
Gentleman at the back.
Thank you. My name is Ed Adelman. I live at 534 Old Stonebrook. I'm standing in support of this article. My son is in 7th grade at the junior high school, and they have computers, a computer lab. He spends most of his time trying to make these machines work. And I believe that if we're talking about the quality of education, and this is a school committee warrant, we should be talking about teaching our children things, not relying on one or two kids who happen to know something from someplace else to try to hold the computer lab together with baling wire and string. We should have proper machines on which students can learn. As far as the cost, I get the same periodicals that have been referred to and have gone to the same stores in Nashua and have bought a few machines there myself for less money than on the warrant. So I think we need some confirmation from the proponent of this article that, as they alluded to, that this would be bid in accordance with state procurement, and we're not going to pay $2,000 for a machine if these specifications can be purchased for less. I think I would be more comfortable to support this if we could confirm that, but I think the students absolutely need a appropriate machine. A 486 is long ago inappropriate, and I think it's a disgrace to the school district that we have machines of this vintage in our labs, in our schools. The idea of looking for hand-me-down machines is a path down which I do not believe we should tread again, ever. I worked in Lowell. We had a hand-me-down weighing system. It was free, and we paid for it every day. Every day we tried to use it. Every day we tried to transfer a file. And that's not, again, what our children should be doing in school. They should be learning what's happening next, not repeating what's already been done. Thank you.
Mr. Stuntz, I think Mr. Adelman asked a question that you may choose to respond to.
I do have a description of the computer which meets the specifications which we feel are necessary for these computers. Jesse, can you...
I think the question that he asked was a different question. It related to the bid process, and could we be assured that we would follow that process and pay as little as we needed to? Was that your question, Mr.
Exactly. I think town meeting needs to be assured that we're going to pay the minimum for the specification. I don't think we're questioning the specification of the machine, knowing it should be a robust, durable device, but I think we need assurance that we're paying the minimum for the piece of hardware.
We are as aware, perhaps even more aware than town meeting is, about the scarcity of the dollars. And we legally are required to go to bid, and even if we weren't, we would, to try to get the best buy we possibly can get. We do not want to spend $1 more than we need to get good, robust, and useful equipment that will probably last our children another 7 years.
Gentleman at the mid-microphone.
I'm Paul DeVivo from 7 Lothrop Road. I'm representing Acton Citizens for Tax Sense, speaking against this article. When the proposal was made, there was a mention of Windows NT, and nobody's talked about that, and I'd like to get into that just a little bit. What is Windows NT, and what are the implications of deploying it in our school system? Windows NT, the NT stands for New Technology, is Microsoft's industrial strength network and application platform operating system. The next version of NT is called Windows 2000. With NT, you can build networks containing tens of thousands of computers. You cannot log on to a computer unless you have an account and give the correct password. Now, since you need an account for each user, there is now an additional layer of system administration. NT software configuration is much more complex, and most installations require the service of a Microsoft certified systems engineer on staff or under contract to keep them running. Who are they? Well, they are the people who trained in specific areas of software. MCSE preparation training costs between $7,000 and $10,000. Then you have to take and pass 6 rigorous Microsoft exams, and it costs $100 each time you take an exam. Are we ready for this kind of support requirement? And there's the per computer software cost. The academic license cost for the Windows NT workstation, NT Client Access, Microsoft Office Professional, Photoshop, AutoCAD LT, and Front Page, these were the software packages that were mentioned in the interaction, is more than $700 for each PC. That's just a software license. Then there are the servers, which I won't get into. There is the cost of training faculty to teach the use of this sophisticated software. Finally, there is the cost for a Microsoft support contract, which is almost always required to keep a Windows NT network operational. Acton Citizens for Tax Sense believes approval of this article will open the door and embark on a course that we don't yet understand, and in a way which is fiscally irresponsible. A credible technology strategic plan is required which addresses how the incompatible Macintosh and Windows PCs will coexist, how instructional needs are to be balanced by the reality that Windows PCs vastly dominate the college and business world, and how our computer assets will be scheduled for regular upgrading and/or replacement. The town has recognized how complex information systems management has become and has secured funding in Article 14J for MIS consultant services to sort this out on the municipal side. The school department needs to do this as well to effectively manage its many hundreds of computers. We know that computers need to be replaced on a regular basis. We should make provision for such replacement in the regular operating budget, just as the town does for police cruisers and fire trucks, and not consider this to be a major, non-recurring capital improvement requiring bonding. ACTS urges you to defeat this article.
Mr. Cady. Mr. Cady.
Bill Cady. I move the question.
Do I hear a second? All in favor of cutting off debate, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no.
No.
Debate is cut off. We'll vote on the motion. It takes 2/3 to pass. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Nay. Would all in favor please stand? Would you please be seated? Would all opposed please stand? Tellers, come forward, please. Would all in favor of the motion as read please stand? All in favor, stand and be counted.
Are you standing? Is this yours?
Finance committee had a lot of fun.
That guy right there. You can sit down now. Sit down.
Next time I'm going to negotiate my pay by the vote, not by the night. No. The meeting, yeah, right. The meeting. No. And I'm not even sure it's per, I think it's for each town meeting, not every we come.
Oh, wait.
I think it's per town meeting. He once made a comment about, if it goes into overtime, he doesn't get paid for the next night. My case, it wears his knee back. I even wear it at the office.
Okay, would all opposed please stand?
always spend. Finally, Charlie. Hey, wait a minute. Where you going? Of course, I put 5 down and sign it. He goes over there and puts 30 and 3 in front of the 5. And
The one that Trump's is saying.
Uh, 232. That's 222. The vote is in. There were 223 yes votes, 116 no votes. It needed 232 to pass. The motion has failed.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes, Mr. Jarbo.
On a couple of occasions, both tonight and the first night of town meeting, we came across a couple issues that dealt with technology, whether it was the GIS system or tonight's proposal. And had I had a chance, I would have voted to amend the article, but we cut off debate before that, so that's moot. We've lost this article. We'll move on.
but could I suggest to the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee, and the School Committee that between now and the next town meeting that they might invite citizens in the town who have a good deal of technology experience to form a advisory committee. We are starting to deal with issues that where the state-of-the-art moves incredibly rapidly, and knowing things like, boy, you could have gotten that for $1,000, which is fairly standard industry knowledge, or gosh, you could have put that up on a website, which is, again, pretty normal stuff, maybe something that townspeople could help this process along by volunteering.
Thank you, Mr. Jarboe. We'll move to Article 28, dealing with Acton Public School wastewater solution. The motion is Mr. Liberty moves to take no action. Do I hear a second? Mrs. Stuntz, are you going to speak to this one? Go ahead.
Well, are we? Okay. The reason why we are moving to take no action on this one is that we have come to an agreement with the Department of Environmental Protection. This is a quote from our recent letter from the DEP. This regional school district has been in negotiations with the Department of Environmental Protection for over 6 years about the non-compliance at the high school. The delay of the sewer project caused some concern over wastewater disposal. The DEP, the Acton Public Schools, and the regional district have come to an agreement for an interim solution. The schools remain committed to supporting a community-wide sewer solution. However, if the town is ultimately unable to build sewers, it will be absolutely required by the DEP to build a treatment facility. And just as another piece of this puzzle, we have done some work at the high school to minimize the water usage, which is one reason why the DEP is allowing us to have the interim solution of continuing to use the present septic systems until the sewers come online.
Other comments? Mr. Hunter.
Mr. Moderator, the Board of Selectmen supports the motion. I would comment in regard to the municipal sewer project that we're still soldiering on, attempting to make things come together and keep the costs within something that's affordable in the marching orders which we have, which are in this project, which will directly or indirectly benefit everybody in town to be able to float it on the betterments and usage fees for those only directly served. This agreement that the schools have gotten in regard to an interim period of time if the municipal project is going on is a perfectly logical and reasonable thing for the school administration to be doing. One of the unintended consequences, of course, is that it complicates the municipal project because they're going to reduce their water flows, which will increase the operating and maintenance costs for the citizens in the district, presuming we go forward. Sewer Action Committee is meeting next Thursday, I guess the 15th in Town Hall. You're all encouraged to come if you would like. The current plan is to attempt to get to a special town meeting on June 21st for a go, no-go decision on the sewer project, but things are still in flux. We have a number of problems. We're accumulating problems faster and we're accumulating solutions at the moment. And it's conceivable that the decision in that regard might be in the fall. But in any event, we recommend that the current motion and believe that this is a good arrangement for the schools, assuming they're in an interim situation. If indeed, of course, the municipal project does not come to fruition, then they'll have to build their own wastewater treatment plant, and I have encouraged them to do a little contingent planning in that regard. Thank you.
From the Finance Committee, Mr. Evans.
The Finance Committee supports the withdrawal of this motion. We believe that the school committee has made a wise decision in its attempt to reduce water in order to solve the interim problem.
Gentleman in the middle.
Paul DeVivo, Lothrop Road. I commend the school department for the action they took to reduce the wastewater. It was the right thing to do. And it saved a lot of money by avoiding the need to have a major septic project. The only question I have is, how much did it cost, and where did the money come from to do this?
Mrs. Stunts?
The projected cost at the moment is about $60,000. That means that all the faucets are set to low flow faucets, all the toilets are set to low flow toilets. You know, the same sorts of things you do in your house to conserve water. For 2 months this winter, there was a hold on the health insurance because our fund balance in health insurance was up to the maximum. So actually, the town, the water district, and the schools did not have to pay into the health insurance for those months. So that money has been used for this. It was a windfall type of thing, and we felt we didn't have to come back to town meeting to get that money, even though it was a very reasonable request, and we used the money that was a windfall.
Gentleman at the back microphone.
Thank you. I assume this is a generic microphone tonight?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, sir.
No, it's just...
Would you also give us your name and
All right,
street?
Jim Wengler, Francine Road. I have a question about if you have to put an on-site wastewater disposal unit on this campus. Do you have any idea how much that will cost? Are we talking $200,000, $1 million? What is it?
Mrs. Stunts.
Bill has the latest numbers on that. Bill Ryan, if we can. They've changed several times.
Mr. Ryan.
We've had a couple of studies done during the last 7 or 8 years. The last one was done June 30th, 1998 by EarthTech. And this study basically, putting the treatment facility for the entire campus is $2.7 million.
Thank you.
Mr. Cadillac?
Yes, Mr. Moderator, this is sort of an odd situation that we are being asked to approve taking no action on this and the following article, which by doing so we in a way commit ourselves to a possible future substantial cost. And we really don't have any way of making a decision on it because the option of committing to that cost or not is not in front of us. But as you just heard, 2.7 million, and not to get into all the details, but to the best of my knowledge, and I have been asking, there have actually not been any technical studies such as hydrological studies done yet. And based on the experience the town went through with the municipal system at Adam Street, where we thought we knew a lot and turned out that we didn't. There are all sorts of pitfalls ahead of this. The problem is that once everything is constructed and this DEP proposal is in effect accepted, we as a town then will have absolutely no choice but to vote whatever the amount of money it may take to do it. And it really is a very unusual and awkward situation where we're creating a future liability without having anything to say about it. And I would also like to point out, because it wasn't mentioned, that this very same letter that Mrs. Stunts mentioned says the proposal for system optimization, this is the letter from the DEP, the proposal for system optimization, regular oversight and inspection, a contingency plan for the potential system failure, coupled with the pending execution of the administrative consent order, provides a comprehensive approach Now, I'm sure I'll be corrected if I'm wrong, but my understanding is that there has been a potential consent order on this building for not meeting the requirements of current leaching field for the last 6 years, but that really that consent order has not been, whatever the legal term may be, executed or served. By agreeing to this, that consent order comes into place and is then something that the town will have to resolve. So there are things that happen along with this which are not fully understood by the people here and potentially will cost us millions of dollars. One last comment. This is called an interim solution, implying that if all goes well, and we all hope it would, the municipal system would be built and we'll be back to where we were in the beginning, hooking up to it. As Mr. Hunter has already mentioned, as each week goes by, the probability of the municipal sewer system happening diminishes, which is, in my opinion now, well below 50-50. So calling this an interim solution may be wishful thinking. I just want you to be aware of it. We may be here a few years from now being asked to add millions of dollars to the pile with no choice.
I'm going to recognize Mrs. Stuntz. She has a reply I think that we would want to hear.
One of the reasons why we have not had that consent order legally landed on us for 6 years is because we have been working on a community-wide sewer project. That is the reason why that consent order is coming, quote, due, end of quote, at this point is that it is an absolute miracle that we haven't already had it. And the reason why we haven't already had it is purely due to the very strenuous efforts of the Sewer Action Committee in trying to get sewers going in this town. The reason why the DEP has supported us in this interim solution as the town works out its sewer issues is that the DEP is absolutely behind the community-wide sewer project. That is the best solution. The school committee supports that solution. Mr. Cadillac is absolutely right. The DEP can tell us if we do not have a solution to our wastewater from the high school and the sewers do not go online, they will require us to have a treatment facility. We have been saying that now for 6 years. We have been saying that constantly. It is one of the things that has helped the sewers progress as they have progressed, and there is uncertainty in life, Charlie. This is one of those times.
Mr. Richter.
I'd just like to ask Mr. Hunter to repeat that date of that meeting, because I'd like to go and I missed it. And I think that should be widely spread around the town.
The Sewer Action Committee will meet in room 204. That's the Selectmen's hearing room at 7 o'clock on Thursday, the 15th of this month. Is one of our sequential meetings, but this is a reasonably important one, and we expect to hear some interesting, or not so interesting as it may be, information from our consultants and other advisors. We are in a fairly crucial decision-making period. I can't say that all decisions will be made at this next meeting, but we're certainly working on them.
Thank you.
Please come.
Thank you.
The gentleman at the back.
Paul Baker, 55 Drummer Road. I have a question. If there's a recommendation that no action be taken, is there a vote taken by this body?
Is there a vote taken?
Yes.
Yes, there is.
Okay, and on what motion is the vote taken? To take no action?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. If the body votes no on such a motion, what is the effect of a no vote?
The effect of the no vote is that someone, if they wish, can make an affirmative motion, or we pass over the article, and it has the same effect as taking no action. No, someone can make an affirmative action of some, or a motion of some kind if they wish.
Well, okay, I guess that's an answer. Thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Adelman.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Just a brief comment. Mr. Cadillac is certainly correct in that if the schools need their own freestanding on-site wastewater treatment plant, it'll cost a lot of money. I think, though, that, excuse me, while we don't know the answers to that question, we do know a lot about the facts and the issues. And as a community, we make choices. Several years ago, we decided as a town, unanimously, that it would not be appropriate to convert the auto auction site on Route 2 to a mall, even though it would bring in non-residential taxes, which we would like, and even though the developer of that mall would have provided sewers for Kelly's Corners and the school campus. So it's not as though this issue doesn't have history, and not as if this town has not made serious, thoughtful decisions in the past over how we see our future. So we're aware of the problem. We are aware of the problem of sewage at the campus of schools, Kelly's Corners, and how it affects commercial development in town, as we spoke last night. It would be desirable to have sewers, and I know Dory Hunter and Nancy Tavernier and the members of the Sewer Action Committee and hundreds of volunteers in town have been working very, very hard on this issue. We've had many votes in this room and in town meeting in the auditorium about sewers in this town over the 11 years that I've lived in town, but I think it's unfair to say that we are not aware of the fact that this anvil is holding over our head and that the wild coyote could come cut the string any time, and we will need to pay a significant amount of money to sewer the high school campus. And we just need, again, if nothing else, to go on record at this town meeting that this is out there, it's expensive, it's real, and why when Doré talks about meetings, about the Sewer Action Committee, that this is all very real and affects us as a whole town. But it's not because we don't know.
I've never heard so much debate on a take no action motion in 23 years. This gentleman is going to be the last speaker on this item.
Do you hear me?
Surely can.
Thank you. My name is Dave Campbell, 64 Main Street. I would like to ask Mr. Ryan, is this a regional school project? Is this money coming split between Acton and Boxborough, $2.7 million if we go through with this plan? Or is this a Actonian debit?
Mrs. Stuntz will answer the question.
The $2.7 million will be split by the portion that is used by the region, the portion that is used by the local schools. The whole central campus would be sewered if we go to a treatment plant. We are not planning that at the moment. If we go to a treatment plant, the percentage that is being used by the high school and junior high versus the percentage that would be used by Miriam and the twin school would be calculated. The town of Acton would be responsible for the Acton Public School portion, and the region would be responsible for the regional portion, and that would be split with Boxborough in the normal capital split.
Thank you. My final question is, this $2.7 million, is this really a realistic figure? I mean, we've gone through the sewer, and from $11 million up to 24, I think this $2.7 million will double. You haven't had studies, you haven't had all the agencies of the state who really tell us what we have to pay. Is this a realistic figure, or is this as...
A short answer, Mrs. Stuntz.
Our last study was the one that Bill quoted from, which was in June of 1998. We have had, I think, two studies. It's the best we can do at the moment. We've had two good studies, and I can't guarantee. You know, when I estimate sometimes in my house for repairs, those bills sure come in higher than I expected them, and it happens.
Mrs. Stuntz, we're ready to vote.
Thank you.
We're going to vote on the motion to take no action. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. It's unanimous. See, sir, your worries were for naught. Article 29, Acton Boxborough Regional School District Wastewater Solution. Mrs. Stuntz moves to take no action. Do I hear a second? Second. Mrs. Stuntz.
Please take no action.
That was about the right length of time. Mr. Hunter.
Ditto.
Finance Committee raised his hand, said the same. Comment. Terrific. There's nobody standing. We will now vote. All in favor of taking no action under Article 29, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. It's unanimous.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't want to be
Mr. Fredericks.
repetitive or redundant, but I have an announcement to make. So just indulge me a little bit. As for those that weren't here the first night, we have a select person that is leaving after 12 years, Nancy Tavernier. And I guess I'd have to say she's probably the hardest working select person that we've ever had. I'd like you to give her a standing ovation.
Wade, I did applaud vigorously, as long as I don't hear she's going to run for moderator or something like that. Okay. Article 30, dealing with the Blanchard Auditorium transfer. Here is the motion. Mr. Hunter moves that the town repeal the vote under Article 3 of the December 1st, 1998 special town meeting, and that the Board of Selectmen be authorized to transfer the Blanchard Auditorium and land to the Acton-Boxborough Regional School District for $1, and to take all other actions as set forth in the article. Do I hear a second? Mr. Hunter.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're here tonight with this article basically because I goofed. On the building committee, I was and am the Board of Selectmen's representative, and when the question arose about the legalisms surrounding the renovation of Blanchard Auditorium, which is basically a setback question, which I can get into in detail if you really want to be bored, so I'll skip over it. I suggested rather offhandedly, having just come out of the negotiation with Boxborough on the revision of the regional agreement, I suggested rather offhandedly that we do a land swap to cure the zoning problem. The idea is that with the zoning, if the two parcels and the lot line runs right behind the Blanchard Auditorium, are in separate ownership, you have setback requirements which give you a fit as far as trying to get a permit from the building department. I suggested, well, let's just swap the land around because, frankly, it's of some municipal advantage, in my view, for the region to own the land down to 111, which, after all, has the junior high school's septic system and also has some tennis courts we just assume the school department maintain. I guess because I'm a selectman, the school department sort of saluted and went in that direction, but when we got down to the mechanics of it after the vote at the last town meeting, it got more complicated, created a bigger problem than the original problem. What has been brought back here tonight is a much cleaner and simpler solution that is within the terms, we feel, of the original arrangement on Blanchard Auditorium. It is simply to give that portion of the land running down to 111 to the school department so they don't have to worry about setbacks as they build around Blanchard. Ms. Stuntz is going to speak to the article in more detail, but it is a town motion, so I moved it, and I wanted to stand here and admit that if I had thought through the subject a little more carefully, we wouldn't be here. The motivation at the time was to try and avoid any monetary amounts being bandied about, because we found in the negotiations for the latest revision of the regional agreement, where at one point we were talking about the possibility of building a school in Boxborough, the historic dollar amounts that have been used on land transfers involving the two towns suddenly became very important precedents, and we were trying to avoid creating any more precedents, and in doing that, in trying to avoid a future problem, I made a current problem, for which I apologize. And with the moderator's permission, I'll defer to Mrs. Stuntz.
Mrs. Stuntz.
The state does not reimburse a school district for renovation of property it does not own. In order to make the renovation of the Blanchard Auditorium a reality in our current building projects, the auditorium should be owned by the region. At the moment, the current lease states that the town of Acton pays 100% of the renovations to the auditorium, as we have done in the past. For example, when the clock tower became a safety hazard. The Blanchard family gave a portion of the money for the auditorium almost 50 years ago. Their stipulation that there be nothing built between the auditorium and Mass Avenue will, of course, be honored. The basic issue is that the Blanchard Auditorium has always been used by the region, and since it is attached to the junior high, will continue to be so. The gift makes the ownership follow the use. At the time of town meeting in December, we were working on a solution to the basic problem of a building owned by the town of Acton, which is used almost exclusively by the junior high, a regional school. In December, we thought that the land swap was the best solution. But as the process has unfolded, we believe we've come up with an even better solution. The deed of gift for the land and auditorium requires that the town of Acton use of the auditorium for such things as town elections and other functions will continue as in the past. Jesse, could you switch me? What land are we actually talking about? You will notice that the gray is the junior high school, current junior high school. The red stripe are the portions that are going to be added in the current building project. This green line incorporates all the land between Massachusetts Avenue and the back of the Blanchard Auditorium. Behind that land, the land is all owned by the region. In front of that land, the land is all owned by the town of Acton. It is that land that we are talking about the town gifting to the region. The town of Acton accrues a significant financial advantage without any loss of use of the building. This gift means that the town of Acton is no longer responsible for renovations and repairs to the Blanchard Auditorium. The renovations currently planned, as well as all future renovations, will be split with Boxborough according to the regional agreement. The renovations would also be eligible for state reimbursement in the current junior high project. Whoops. Please vote yes on this article.
We have a comment from the Finance Committee, please. Mr. Evans.
The Finance Committee recommends this transfer.
Any comment from any? Yes, Mr. Sawyer.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Before I get into the substance of my comments, I've already said this to you personally, but I want to say it publicly. This town meeting is a breath of fresh air compared to the last one. I'm going to blame all of that on you. I, for one, am very thankful and very appreciative of your efforts.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you say that just so that I'd give you unlimited time and not put any heat on you at all? Because if you did, it worked. Go ahead.
My motives are pure. This article deals with the building in which we're now sitting. Look around you. No, sorry. It deals with Blanchard Auditorium, where we have in the past. Well, let me read to you the language of the gift. It's very brief. this is the gift from the Blanchard family, and this is the language out of the Blanchard Trust. It was for the general welfare of the town of Acton, to benefit all its citizens, a combined auditorium and gymnasium for the use of the school system and any needs of the citizens for a community building. Historically, it's been a very useful building to the town. Something in me, maybe it's just because I grew up in New England, makes me reluctant to give something away that has been of great use to the town. And despite what we have heard, I believe it will significantly interfere with the use of the auditorium by the town. Simply put, it converts the relationship the town is now the landlord, the region is the tenant. It reverses that relationship. Now, at the moment, the region occupies this space during the academic day and during the academic year, with some variations. Essentially, the town has a clear shot in the evenings, weekends, and summertime. When you reverse it, you have the opposite. Now, there are three substantial and particular problems with this motion. First of all, although I'm a lawyer, I don't specialize in this area, but it's my impression that to do what this article wants to do, you really need an act of the legislature. Now, back in the 50s, when they tried to do something what's far less significant from this, which was simply to let the Nagog Regional School District make some use of the auditorium, the town did, in fact, go to the legislature and did get an act passed, which would suggest that that's necessary to accomplish this. Now, the selectmen at their most recent meeting in which they discussed this took the position that, well, let's just do it. They won't make us tear it down after it's done. That may or may not be true, but I suspect bond council will have a problem, and I suspect, it really only takes one citizen to bring an action on this kind of thing. It's just a pretty limp way, I think, to go forward. But there are more important problems. Now, there are alternatives that I will suggest that will speed up the process far beyond what's being suggested. This is not a question of school or no school. There are no champions here. This is purely a simple question of what's good for the town of Acton. Now, when we get into this, I am thoroughly confident that we will get into a long negotiation with the town of Boxborough, since it owns a significant portion of, it is a significant portion of the region, and will owe a significant portion of its obligations. The idea that they will submit to a region taking all the cost and not nearly all the benefits, I think is a little difficult to accept. In any case, we can expect there will be a lengthy negotiation. And in fact, when the region tried to negotiate with our own town forces for the lease or the license, which has not in fact yet been signed, it took them 5 months of negotiation to accomplish that. So we have probably an inadequate procedure. We're facing a lengthy negotiation. And we have the other issue, which is keeping faith with the Blanchard family. Now, that is perhaps the most serious and most long-term impact of just giving away this auditorium or the auditorium and the land. I think any of us who give property to a town for a purpose are entitled to expect that that purpose will be honored. And I believe in this case we're violating that expectation, and I believe it will put a chill on future gifts of well-meaning citizens who would like to benefit the town, but would lack the confidence in honoring of that trust. Now, you will note in the warrant that it says that this gift has been declared to be in keeping with the Blanchard Trust and the good of the town of Acton. I don't know where that declaration came from. It did not come from the trustees. The most we have from them is a rubber stamp that says no objection, unsigned, uninitialed. It's a staffing document. And as recently as 4:30 this afternoon, the trustee, the Mellon Trust, informed me that the issue is still before their Board of Trustees. Now, there are other alternatives that are far quicker and far more straightforward to achieve the result I think we all want. The first is simply change the plans. This is not a big variation in the plans, and I understand that architects don't like to change plans, but you know, we're big folks. We can probably get that done if we try hard enough. But perhaps the second alternative is even easier, and that is when you deal customarily with a zoning setback problem, and you have a good reason to want to do what you want to do, and it doesn't comply with those rules, you apply to the Board of Appeals for a variance. To get a variance is about a 2.5-month job. We've been aware of this problem since July. I believe that if we proceed along the course that's being suggested, we will still be struggling with this problem for another 6 months. I think it's quicker, better for the town, saves the town asset, gets the job done quicker, and builds the school faster. If we either have the architect change the plans or go to the Board of Appeals for a variance, or both. Thank you.
I recognize Mr. Hunter.
Mr. Moderator, I'd like to respond to several of the factual comments made.
Go right ahead.
Any negotiations that are involved with this article with Boxborough have already been conducted. There's not going to be any 5-month process. We did spend about 5 months working over the regional agreement, and we didn't have a great deal of trouble with that. In regard to the question of use of the auditorium, you will notice in the article it has been arranged that the selectmen will retain the same uses of the Blanchard Auditorium as we currently do. In regard to legal rights of use of space, we're standing or sitting, as the case may be right now, in a space that is owned by the regional school district. I have never heard any problem when the town with reasonable notice goes to the school system and says we want to use the auditorium, we want to use the field house, we want to use Blanchard, we want to use whatever for whatever. No one has ever worried about any legalisms, so I don't think that there's any problem in that regard. The proposal is, in my opinion, legal. And proposal is, in my opinion, appropriate, and it does indeed save the town money. One, I suppose, could go to the Zoning Board of Appeals. So we took what we thought was a very compelling case to the Zoning Board of Appeals to have a rectangular addition to the town hall. It is not rectangular. Thank you.
I will recognize the gentleman in the middle. He's been standing the longest.
Thank you. Marco Schidlo, 2 Paul Review Road. I'm in favor of this motion. Mr. Hunter pretty much said what I wanted to emphasize, that I don't understand all the misgivings of the speaker that spoke before Mr. Hunter, because it's perfectly clear that we are, at this very moment, using a facility that belongs to the regional school, and I've been a resident in Acton since 1993. I've been to every town meeting since then, I mean, sometimes more than once a year, whether the meeting is here or the meeting is in the auditorium. I have never seen any problem, or I'm not aware of any problem. I have not ever read in the Beacon that there has been any objection to the town carrying its duties, because this is a regional building. So I basically don't, history seems to be against all, if not most, if not all of the objections raised. So I encourage you to vote for this motion.
Mr. Benson?
John Benson, 21 Deacon Hunt Drive. Without being hostile or unfriendly, there was a sense in some quarters that this article would be used as an attempt to do indirectly what couldn't be done last December 1 and December 8. I would ask the town meeting that we join with the selectmen and the school committee and graciously accept this gift? And I call the question.
Mr. Benson, I will not take a motion after you've made a speech. I'll recognize, but I like the intent of it, however. I recognize the lady at the side microphone.
Astrid Trustor, 15 Mohegan Road. Sorry, I'm not calling the question. I'd just like to say, as a taxpayer, I think this article makes fiscal sense. We, as the town of Acton, have been paying 100% of the maintenance costs of this Blanchard Auditorium, even though it is used exclusively or almost exclusively by the region. It makes sense to make it a regional building so that as we have to pay for maintenance as it comes up, it gets split between Acton and Boxborough. Thank you. I hope you vote yes.
Mr. Cadillac?
First of all, Mr. Benson says we should graciously accept this gift. I thought we were giving it away, not getting it. John? Okay. I think there is a rather serious question which I would like a straight answer to, is where do we stand with the trustees of the Mellon Trust? Because we have heard repeatedly that they have agreed to this. There are some other restrictions, for those of you who do not know, beyond keeping the land between the Blanchard and 111 free of buildings so that the auditorium can be seen. That was one of the conditions of the gift back in 1952, but there are other restrictions, and again, we have been told that this has been approved by the trustees, but as Mr. Sawyer has just pointed out, that has not been able to be documented. So could I have an answer to that?
Yes, Mrs. Stuntz.
Charlie, we always try to give you a straight answer.
If you say so, Lise.
We have a letter from the trustees. We have it documented. The trustees did meet. The trustees did give their approval. It's actually an interesting paper trail with the gift and everything else. If you want to delve into it, you're welcome to. But we do have approval from the trustees.
You have a letter from the trustees?
We have a letter from Mellon Bank, signed by the trustee in charge.
Why was not that letter given to those people who were asking for it?
Dr. Zimmerman.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I actually thought it was given to those people who asked. It came to us by fax first. And as a fax, it did not look very official. So we called Tanya Jones at the Mellon Bank and asked her if she would please send it on Mellon Bank stationery so that it would look more appropriate. She then sent it to us, and one of the people who called to ask me for a copy, I offered the fax, and then I said, but if you wait a couple of days, I think we'll have in hand the stationery version. And my understanding, I didn't check today, my understanding, or yesterday or the day before, is that the gentleman did come in and get a copy of the real letter. He could see the real letter. And I am very sorry, I just raced back to the junior high school and I did not think to bring it with me. We could have put it on the screen. But I believe I've also sent a copy of it to the town manager. I've sent a copy to the town. In any case, I have sent copies to the building committee, I believe, has seen it. So it isn't as if it's a secret. It is there.
Mr. Moderator, I don't want to leave you out of this, but this is a very serious point. Are we referring to this memo with the rubber stamp on it? Is that what you mean by the letter?
That is the letter.
That is not a letter, I'm sorry. Has no name, no signature, nobody knows who it came from, and as Mr. Sawyer pointed out, the trustees of the Mellon Bank do not feel that constitutes a letter. This is a serious problem. This Blanchard Auditorium was given to the town of Acton by the Blanchard family with certain conditions. If we want to open up a whole legal can of worms, go right ahead. But this is not the way, in spite of what Mr. Benson thinks, that this renovation of the junior high is going to get done. This will be an obstacle, not the way to get it done. And I'm very concerned about the attitude that was expressed by the Board of Selectmen, specifically Mr. Hunter, when the town manager pointed out in an open Board of Selectmen meeting on the 4th of March that this proposal has legal problems. This is on the public record. Anybody can see it. The town manager informed the Board of Selectmen that if this was challenged, the courts would probably not agree with it. And Mr. Hunter's response was, if we build it, nobody's going to make us tear it down. I cannot think of a better way to get ourselves in problems. This is not the way to make things simpler. This is a way to make things more difficult. Yes, there is a way, a very simple way, to avoid this problem entirely and to go ahead with the junior high school renovation, which is a very minor change in the design, not to change the locker rooms, but leave it as it is, which is one of the provisions of the Blanchard Trust which the trustees would have to agree to, and they haven't. So if you think this is a simple problem, stay tuned. This is not a simple problem. This is not solving anything. This is, once again, something that has not been properly done. The procedures have been short-circuited, and it'll come back to haunt us. One more point, I will sit down and say nothing more. You've heard that that the town of Acton is responsible for renovations. The implication was that if we don't do this, then part of the renovation of the junior high voted last December would have to be paid for the town of Acton. That's not true. That's not what we voted last December. Anything that has to do with the Blanchard Auditorium, which the town right now owns, cannot be part of the junior high regional renovation. The town is not obligated to do anything to the Blanchard Auditorium. As a matter of fact, it is precluded from doing so by the Blanchard Trust, more or less. So, you know, saying that we get 61% sounds like, oh, that's a good deal, but the fact is we don't have to do a thing to it. Furthermore, on the finances of it, the town collects rent. It's not a whole lot, but it's not, you know, it's not a freebie. The town owns an extremely valuable piece of property, 100%. Not only are we being asked to give it away, we're being asked to give it away under conditions which will probably lead to lawsuits. You want to do this? I don't. Vote no.
Why don't you respond, if you can keep your response limited perhaps to the letter issue?
That's exactly what I was going to do.
Who was going to do that?
Okay.
You're looking at her, I see.
Mrs. Stuntz.
Unless you want to respond to it, Dore?
Well, I was rising to respond to the personal attack on me, but please go ahead.
Oh, okay. We could all do that.
No, I think we don't want to let this deteriorate. Please,
I know. I'm sorry.
Please
I
let us
apologize.
not respond.
The letter, we have been in negotiations and discussion with the Mellon Bank for a considerable length of time. This letter indicates that the Board of Trustees did vote, that it was fine, that this gift from the town of Acton to the regional school district met their approval. It was put specifically on Mellon Stationery Bank letterhead. We do have a legal letter. The lawyers have looked at it. The lawyers have been in conversation with us. It is not illegal. We would not bring you something that if this I had not been dotted. I urge you to vote for this. This makes fiscal sense. It makes rational sense. It's something that really should be done.
Mr. Hunter.
Mr. Moderator, in prior years, I've made similar comments on the floor of town meeting that people who come into town meeting and refer to a telephone conversation they had with somebody that afternoon are bringing the meeting unverifiable hearsay. In this case, they're questioning a writing when they're relying on a telephone conversation. The comment that was attributed to me at the Board of Selectmen meeting, the best that I recall, and I wasn't taking notes of what I said, maybe Charlie was was to the effect that I didn't think anybody had standing to challenge what was being done. Now, I didn't realize that we were dealing with a political question here. I was speaking to the legalisms. Let me correct one fact that's being used very loosely. The Blanchard Trust did not give the auditorium to Acton. They contributed $150,000 toward the building of the auditorium. There was other public monies that were expended for that purpose. I think that's all I need to say in correction at this time, Mr. Moderator. Thank you.
I'll recognize the gentleman at the back microphone. You, sir.
Yeah, Dave Campbell, 64 Main Street. I'd like to hear opinion from the legal counsel of this town regarding this matter.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
All right, I would like to hear opinion from the legal counsel of this town regarding this matter, regarding the trust, if he has seen the trust agreement signed by Mellon Bank. Thank you.
Mr. Callahan, if you wish to respond.
I'll respond indirectly because I think some questions have been raised about this. And like a lot of questions, lawyers worry endlessly about things that might happen. And they worry that somebody might bring a lawsuit. And that is always possible, and nobody can guarantee that a lawsuit won't be brought. I think the chances of success of such a lawsuit are minimal. The original gift was given by the Blanchard family, who at the time were the trustees of the Blanchard Foundation. They gave a cash gift to the town of $150,000 for the purpose of aiding in the construction. And as Mr. Hunter said, it was a gift of a partial payment of the cost of the construction of the auditorium, of a combined auditorium and gymnasium, both for the use of the school system and to serve as well any needs of the citizens for a community building. What is being done is essentially what the Blanchards asked for and why they gave the gift. The building will continue to be used for the use of the school system, and at the time there was no region, but a region was under contemplation at the time of this gift. And to serve for community functions in very much the same way as it has been used for the past. There were, as some people have said, various conditions attached to the gift. One of the conditions was that it be named after the Blanchard family, the Blanchard Auditorium. That's why it is. It will continue to be called the Blanchard Auditorium. There were other conditions about who would design it and the kind of bricks that would be used on the face of the building. But the most important other condition is the location of the building and the fact that the land in front of it be kept without buildings so that people can see the Blanchard Auditorium. That condition will also be met. In short, in the 50 years since this gift, or almost 50 years since this gift was made, conditions have changed in the town. We now have a region. We have a lot more traffic. on the road than occurred at the time of the Blanchard gift. None of those changes, in my view, are inconsistent with the purpose of the Blanchard gift and the conditions that they expressed on it. None of the Blanchards who gave this fund are around today to tell us what they thought or what they thought of this proposed use now. What we have is an institutional trustee who is the trustee of the Blanchard Foundation. We're not going to get a very clear or informed, frankly, view out of that trustee. But I return to the point that I think that the use that is being proposed is consistent with the original gift. The reasons for transferring the property to the region rather than the town, continuing to own it, seem to me to be twofold. One, that has been touched upon earlier, it's the rather technical zoning issues. As the slide showed that was put up on the board before, the dividing line between the regional land and the town land runs right along the back of the Blanchard Auditorium. Indeed, some people think that the line isn't even drawn accurately, and part of the Blanchard is already on regional land. So the zoning issue is largely a technical issue. I think the more important point is the one that Mrs. Stuntz raised earlier, that the state will not reimburse us, will not pay a big chunk of the cost of this if the property is not technically owned by the region. And that, in my view, is the overriding reason for transferring this to the region.
Do we have a more substantive argument to make? I'll recognize Mr. Adelman.
Thank you, sir. I'm standing here collecting one's thoughts is a good thing, because I think if you called on me earlier, I might have said something unpleasant. But I'm still very put out by the discourse that we heard a few speakers ago. Either there is a letter or there is not a letter. And I think that assailing people's integrities on the floor of town meeting is never going to be a good idea, so I won't do it. But I would move that we pass over this article until a letter can be produced. If it exists, that will influence my vote. If it does not exist, that will influence my vote. That's my motion.
I'd like to second that motion.
Just before we second that motion, I want to know what you mean by pass over it. You can make a motion to...
Sorry.
You can make a motion to lay it on the table if you wish. You can make a motion to postpone it indefinitely, or you can make a motion to move it out of order within this town meeting. But this town meeting must dispose of that article that motion in some fashion this evening.
I think the last thing that you said was my intent. To the extent that Dr. Zimmerman indicated that a letter exists in a nearby building that perhaps could be a convenient thing to retrieve before we get through the end of the article warrant tonight, that would be the gist of my motion.
You are making a motion to move...
Oh, well, excuse me. I'm sorry. I've just been handed by a letter. I'm sorry. I withdraw my motion, and I recommend support of this. Well, that's your opinion, Charlie. It looks like a letter to me.
Okay. I'm going to recognize Mr. Savage.
Greg Savage, 26 Stonymead Way. I have three pretty short comments. One, I feel like 85% of me is arguing against this and is for this, and 100% of me, this half is voting against it, is arguing against it, where the region is Acton. I don't understand this gift is to Acton. We're given from Acton to Acton for technical reasons, and I don't understand why there is opposition to this. Acton is a good part of the region. The second thing is, like the last solution that was presented at the last town meeting, where there were issues with it, our elected officials came back to town meeting when there were those issues and wanted to fix it. I trust my elected officials. I trust the town that if there's issues here, the authority we're giving them today, they will not act on. I trust my elected officials. But the third thing, and really the most important thing for the building project, is there was a discussion earlier about why don't we just change the plans? Changing the plans isn't that easy. We're under some deadlines to collect, so we can put in the plans to get the 61% reimbursement. In addition, the plan that's in place works. And it works. We continue to use this piece of property. Acton still has it. Acton is the region. And I don't understand these arguments against it at all. I urge your support for this. Let's not slow down the building. That's all we're trying to do here, is slow it down.
I'd like to take just 2 more speakers on this, and then I'd like to vote it. I'll take the lady at the side microphone. You've been waiting a bit, and I'll take you second, sir.
I just have a question.
You just have a question?
That's all I have, too. I just have a question myself.
You have a question?
Yes.
You ask yours first, you ask yours second, then we'll vote.
Mr. Moderator, Julia Miles, 138 Prospect Street. I'd like to ask that if there's a copy of this letter in the House, could it be put up on the view screen, please?
The screen's showing.
Yeah. Do we have a copy of the letter, please?
Charlie seems to.
Council have one? Does council have one?
What's council reading?
What was he reading earlier?
No, it's on.
I got just a question.
No objections by the trust.
Let's not get further into this than we need to. I'll get right with you in 1 second, sir.
What do you want?
Someone asked to see the letter. There's the letter.
There's the letter.
Okay.
There it is. Now I'll take your question, sir.
Yes, Mr. Moderator. John Donnelly, Mohegan Road. Would the moderator please ask town council whether this is acceptable to him as a legal document?
I will.
Okay, thank you. That's all I want.
That's a direct answer to your question, Mr. Callahan. And you heard the question, sir.
Does the town council say this is a legal letter?
I'm glad you didn't ask me to answer it. You just asked me to ask him, right? You know, I don't do, for $20, I don't answer questions here tonight.
I thought that would be a dispositive question.
Mr. Moderator?
We're waiting for an answer from Mr. Kelly.
Well, I understand.
Just a moment, ma'am.
In form, this is a memorandum from one of the staff at the Mellon Bank to the Trust Administrative Committee, which acts as trustee under this. It recites the background of the gift and the intended change in a legal title. It is endorsed, as I think Mr. Cadillac said, by a stamp saying no objections by the Trust Administrative Committee. I would like to see that the Trust Administrative Committee actually voted on that. And I would like to see it signed in a more formal manner than this document.
Now, I'm going to take
Mr. Moderator.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Julia Miles, 138 Prospect Street. I'm sitting here as a member of the Acton community trying to make a decision on which way to vote on this article. And we just heard someone speak previous to me talking about trusting our officials. I'm relatively new in town, and I hear opposing ideas coming from a variety of people. I asked for that letter to be put up because, for me, I don't disagree that this sounds like a good idea, but the idea that this trust fund would agree to this is important to me. And I asked for that letter to be put up there so I could see it and read it. And it makes me concerned that it gets put up completely out of focus and taken down very quickly. That doesn't instill confidence in me.
Madam, you're welcome to come up and read it if you'd like. No. No, I don't think that would be appropriate. If the lady would like to see the letter, she's welcome to come down here and take a look at it, but I don't want to keep it on the screen for a long time. I'm going to recognize just one more person, it's Mr. Mullen, and no, I'm sorry, one more person, Mr. Mullen, unless you're rising to a point of order, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I lied to you. I didn't mean to. Mr. Mullen, last comment.
It says the Board of Selectmen are authorized to transfer this land. Would the Board of Selectmen transfer this if it were illegal to do so?
Mr. Hunter?
No.
All right, we're ready to vote. We will now vote. All in favor of the motion as read, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. No. It takes 2/3 to pass. Would all opposed please stand? Yeah, all opposed please stand. Would you please be seated? Would all in favor please stand? Okay, be seated. Because this is such an important vote and there's so many no votes, I'm going to have the tellers count it. It is my belief that it passed, but I wouldn't take my word for it. And the 2/3 vote, really to be legal, has to be counted. And I wasn't prepared to count the noes.
Exasperations too. Like a bird. Sorry. Always not act on They don't have to act on it. You know? What are they giving if they're doing a sushi? On trusting they should have had town council. You can only go back how many times? Charlie agrees that issue about it being legal or not. Somebody shows that. I'm just saying there is why this isn't going to be enough. Let's close on it. Somebody should just go down.
Okay, would the door be closed, but the constable make sure the door is closed during voting. And would all in favor of the motion, please stand. Steve, DC, could we put the blowers on and get the air changed a little bit in here? Would that be possible? It's getting very warm. Thank you very much.
Please. Is it a letter? Yes, I know you do.
I don't think it's a letter.
Did you ever get the contract?
I have an approval stamp.
Did you get the contracts out of the town manager?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think
is the project manager at work? Is the project manager at work? It's a regional.
I don't think it's
Good.
Yeah. An indication that it might be. It was a memo from the staff, and I was sending it to somebody who's going to vote on it. You want a letter from that lead trustee saying, in reference to the saying dated. Tell me that the Mellon Bank as trustee doesn't have to be done. Just reading about it. They're trying to stay from being taken over because their market is now the sake of being almost. Huh? Almost. They've been in probably Boston Safe. I mean, but they're also in it was probably Boston Safe Deposit, and then when they were taken over by Mellon, and then Mellon's probably the successor direction. But Mellon, that's Mellon. That's Mellon's push. Right. They've done that for a long time. Well, that's the they're not going to try to lead or they want to stay in private interest in banking.
It actually feels kind of good to stand up.
I don't think I can make it fast. I don't think I make it fast.
Okay, would all opposed, please stand. All opposed, please stand.
See, I can't all one 2 nights, 2 nights, 2 days, all blended in one ugly long week so far. 2 days, 2 nights blended all in one ugly long week. Just because the letter should say approved, that's the way you get an approval back from the trustee. Also, the letter should. Well, that's your reading of it. You're in trouble. Well, I know you well. You have an emotion, I guess you can't go anywhere. That's right. I'm last This is Donna, but I don't know if she's here centuries ago. So I can't leave without finding out. They were all. My daughter's not driving, so I can't just So I get the car and Donna, or down off. We have to go. There's a period of time. Midnight or 1.
I know you do. I know you do. I have the vote. There were 274 yes votes, 75 no votes. The motion has carried. Look, without belaboring the issue too much, I think it's very fair to debate issues and argue positions as strenuously as you wish. That's your right. This is a democracy, and we have a right to say what we want. But in the last half hour or so, I think when we began to question boards and people's integrity, directly or indirectly, we're going over the line of what's acceptable. And it's really up to me to control that, but sometimes it happens so quickly that I can't cut someone off in mid-sentence. And so I'm a little defensive about not doing my job just the right way. So I would ask you to discipline yourself a little bit more, particularly for future town meetings. Now we will move on to Article 31. Dealing with the Minuteman Regional School Assessment. The motion is, Mr. Wiltsey moves that the town raise and appropriate $516,206 to be expended by the town manager for the purpose of funding the assessment of the Minuteman Regional Vocational Technical School District for the period of July 1st, 1999 to June 30th, 2000. Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. I recognize Mr. Wiltsey, who is our representative, as you know, to the school district. And if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Wiltsey is also chairman of the school board this year. Mr. Wiltsey.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. It's awful lonely up here. I hope
You're all alone. You're all alone, Bob. No support.
Everybody left when I walked up here. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Minuteman is a regional school district. There are 16 members. Acton is one of the founding members, has been a member for over 20 years. Currently, our enrollment is a total of just over 1,000 students. That includes full-time equivalent students. Of those 1,000 students, 569 come from the 16-member towns. Because we're not fully enrolled by our 16-member towns, we accept students from outside the district. Those come in two categories. One category is tuition students, and we have 209 of them. The other category is choice students. We have 280 choice students. With that background, this is the Minuteman budget. Our divisions are, the budget is broken down this way. The first division we have is the technology division. That includes students who study biotechnology, environmental technology, engineering. This year we budgeted $166,000. The commercial division is the restaurant, the bakery, the retail store, those types of majors. We've budgeted $96,000 for that. The next category is the trades. That is the construction, HVAC, plumbing, horticulture, for $163,000. The next is academic, which is about $338,000. Support, which includes transportation, insurance, maintenance, is 3.7. And then finally, salaries, which makes up 66% of our budget, is just over it's 8.8 million. This is the revenue side. We have a number of sources of revenue, including Chapter 78. You can read the numbers there for a total of $6.2 million. Subtract that from the budget of $13 million, and we have an assessment of just over $7 million, which we divide amongst the 16 member towns. This is Acton's share of the assessment. This year we have 24 full-time students enrolled in grades 9 through 12, another almost 41 students in the middle school program here at the junior high. Those are FTEs. And then we have other part-time students, 5, so the total FTE enrollment is about 70 students from Acton this year. The key to our assessment is the enrollment in the base students, the 9 to 12 students, which increased from 18 last year to 24 this year. Which leads to this assessment for Acton of $516,206. That is an increase of the increase is, the enrollment is up 33%. The increase in the assessment is just over 20%, and it's all as a result of the increase in enrollment. So I ask your support, your approval of the Minuteman assessment for the upcoming school year.
From the Board of Selectmen, comment? Any comment? Mr. Kavikoff?
The Board of Selectmen recommend the passage of this article.
And from the Finance Committee?
The Finance Committee recommends passage of this article also.
I see a couple of people standing. I'll recognize Mr. Jarbo first.
I move the previous question.
Second.
It's too early, too early. At least there should be one comment. However, it should be a short comment. Mr. Cady.
I'll be brief. I'd like you just to briefly address the Arlington issue in a little more detail. They represent $2 million of the assessment. I understand they're either being thrown out, they're trying to exercise they're the big elephant, the big gorilla. Could you just address that issue?
Sure. There's some disagreement with the majority of the member towns in our district and the town of Arlington about the direction of the school. And after a number of years, actually I've been on the committee now for 8 years, and I think 5 out of those years we've had some difficulties with the town of Arlington that we've tried to address throughout those years. I've come to the conclusion that they just have a different vision for the school, different ideas about what the mission of the school should be. And as a result of their inability to work within our process, we have a committee process, there's 16 members on our school committee. We function as any democratic organization would. However, the votes typically are not in the direction that Arlington would like to see them go. So they consistently began to bypass our committee process and sponsor legislation in the legislature to impact the budget of Minuteman. So the leadership of the committee this year recommended to our committee that we approach the leadership of the town of Arlington and suggested it might be in everyone's best interest if they left the district. We're working on putting together, finalizing the details of a proposal so that we can, in fact, do that.
Gentleman at the back.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Bob Sisk, 76 Main Street, Acton, Mass. Fortunately, on a couple occasions, I'm also a member of the Acton Rotary, and I want to mention that we have had the occasion to visit the facility on 2 different times and notice the supervision and the quality and the situation of the staff at this school. I know a lot of people within the auditorium have not had the opportunity to go to this facility, and I want to say it's a wonderful, fantastic facility, and they are doing an exceptionally well job with this facility. And I recommend this. Please, every penny of it is going to be well spent. Please vote yes on this amendment.
Seeing no one else standing, we'll vote. All in favor of the motion as read, say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion is carried unanimously. Stay there, Mr. Wilsey, if you will. We don't really talk very much about Minuteman. It is a wonderful opportunity for people so inclined. But Mr. Wilsey gives of his time in like amount to any person on our regular school committee, and he's been doing this for 8 years. And we're very grateful to him for his long and arduous help or task and the help that he's given to the town. It is my unfortunate duty to tell you that Mr. Wilsey has moved from Acton to Maynard and will be resigning from the school committee, will no longer be our representative after June of this year when his term as chairman completes. So I am delighted, Bob, with the service you've given to the town so faithfully for the last 8 years, and I would bet the citizens of the town will show their appreciation to you in the way we can do that. Thank you very much. You know, I think in the 23 years I've been appointing people to this committee, we started out with Charlie Courtwright, then went to John Putnam, and then I think Bob followed John. So you tend to serve for quite a while. I will be looking for candidates starting in June. Article 32. Mr. Croswell moves that the town endorse the goals and objectives of the 1998 Master Plan update as specified in the words of this article. Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Mr. Croswell. Mr. Croswell, am I right that what you are looking for is an up or down vote and no amendments?
That is correct.
All right. So if there's great opposition, vote it down. If there is not, we'll vote it up. Obviously, you can make amendments, but we're not looking for them.
I love it. Thank you.
Mr. Croswell.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Before I begin, in the interest of the fact that we're already going into another late hour, I've worked out the